All right, let's dive into a car that was more than just a car. It was an icon, a statement, the absolute peak of raw, untamed performance. We're talking about the Lamborghini Diablo, the final roar of unfiltered Italian madness and the poster on every kid's wall. Let's get into it.
You know, this single quote, it absolutely nails the essence of the Diablo. This thing came from a time before all the electronic nannies, before paddle shifters, a time when supercars were, let's be honest, genuinely dangerous. They demanded your full attention, a ton of skill, and yeah, a healthy dose of courage. And the Diablo, it was the king of them all.
And this wasn't just talk. This legend was grounded in cold, hard facts. When it launched back in 1990, the Diablo officially became the fastest production car on the planet. It could hit 325 kilometers per hour. That's over 200 miles per hour, an absolutely monumental achievement that put the entire car world on notice.
So, where did this monster even come from? Well, imagine you have to follow up the legendary Countach. Talk about a tough act to follow. Lamborghini had this one incredibly ambitious goal: to build their very first production car that could officially smash through the 200-mile-per-hour barrier. This wasn't just going to be an update, it had to be a revolution.
To get that revolution, they went to the master himself, Marcello Gandini. I mean, this is the same genius who gave us the Miura and the Countach. His philosophy was simple: designed for pure, unadulterated drama. That meant a radical wedge shape, a stance that was impossibly low and wide, and a cockpit that just wrapped around you. And the best part? Minimal electronics. The goal was to give you the most direct connection possible between you, the machine, and the road.
But let's be real. At the center of that dramatic body was an equally dramatic heart. The engine wasn't just some part of the car, it was its soul. And you could argue it's one of the greatest engines Lamborghini has ever built. What you're looking at here is 5.7 liters of pure, hand-built, naturally aspirated V12 madness. This thing was all about raw mechanical character. The sound it made wasn't just an exhaust note, it was a symphony of Italian fury. It was the source of all that power and its completely unforgettable soundtrack that just defined an era.
In that power, it never stood still. Over the Diablo's 11-year life, that V12 was constantly being tweaked and pushed. It started at an already massive 485 horsepower, but by the end of its run, some of the special editions were cranking out a jaw-dropping 620 horsepower. Lamborghini just kept pushing.
Okay, all these specs, all this horsepower, it sounds absolutely incredible on paper. But what did it actually feel like to get behind the wheel of this thing? I mean, how do you even control a beast like this? Well, the reality was raw, it was visceral, and sometimes it was downright terrifying.
The Diablo basically had a split personality. If you were just driving it around town, it was a complete nightmare. The steering was heavy, the clutch felt like a workout, the whole car just felt angry, like a bull in a china shop. But get it on an open road, push it to its limits, and it completely transformed. It became frighteningly alive. It was this incredibly rewarding, dramatic experience that was just unmatched by anything else.
And this is why it was a true driver's car. There was no stability control to save you if you got it wrong. In the early models, all that power went straight to the rear wheels. You had this massive, untamed wave of V12 torque just waiting to spin you around. Oh, and you could see basically nothing out of the back window. Driving a Diablo took skill, it took physical strength, and it took a lot of guts. Now, that untamed nature is what made it a legend, for sure. But for Lamborghini to survive and grow as a company, things had to change. A new chapter was about to start, one that would try to tame the bull without, hopefully, breaking its spirit.
This timeline really shows you the pivotal moment. In 1990, the raw, rear-wheel drive Diablo is unleashed on the world. Then, 8 years later, in 1998, Audi buys Lamborghini. This was it. This was the moment that German engineering, discipline, and manufacturing know-how met raw, unbridled Italian passion head-on.
And the results were immediate. Audi's influence brought some much-needed refinement. The build quality skyrocketed. The interior was redesigned to actually be user-friendly. The electronics, well, they actually worked. And crucially, they introduced optional all-wheel drive, which finally made the Diablo's immense power far more manageable and controllable for more people. So you see, the Diablo wasn't just one car. Over its incredible 11-year production run, it really became a whole family of different models. Each one had its own unique character, and together, they traced this amazing journey from just raw, brutal power to a much more refined kind of performance.
This family tree really shows you the whole story. It starts in 1990 as that pure rear-wheel drive beast. Then the 93 VT introduces all-wheel drive for a lot more control. The SV brought back that aggressive rear-wheel drive feel but with more power. Then you got the GT, which was just an extreme, track-focused monster. And finally, the 6.0 VT, which was really the peak of the Audi era, the most refined, well-built Diablo of them all.
So, after all that, after all the power, the drama, the evolution, why did this machine become so much more than just a car? Why is it an immortal icon that we're still obsessed with today? Let's break down what makes it a legend.
It's really all of these things coming together. It was the ultimate 90s poster car, no question. Gandini's design is just timeless. It still looks like it's from the future. It was a symbol of wealth, excess, and peak performance. And most importantly, it was the last of the truly raw analog V12 supercars right before the digital era took over with all its computers and regulations. It was the perfect, wild bridge between two other legends, the Countach before it and the Murcielago after.
When you boil it all down, this is the simple truth of the Diablo. It wasn't built to be practical. It wasn't built to be easy or comfortable. It was engineered for one very clear purpose: to shock you with its looks, to excite you with its sound and its speed, and yeah, to terrify you just a little bit with its raw, untamed power.
And that kind of brings us to a final thought, right? Today's supercars are faster, they're safer, they're infinitely more capable, they're engineering masterpieces. But when you look back at the raw, unfiltered, and demanding character of a car like the Diablo, you just have to ask yourself, in our quest for digital perfection, did we lose some of that essential soul, that drama, that made these old machines so legendary?